the first workday of the week, and a pleasure to welcome you to News at 10 on NTA News 24. And we are reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta, reading today for the first time with Patricia.
It's a pleasure and good to have you too. Good morning, and I'm Patricia Asamiluba. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines.
Meeting between ECOWAS delegation members of the country's military junta and Mali's ousted president may set the tone for possible timeline for civilian rule in the troubled West African country.
Violent attack on the Department of State Services by IPOB leaves 2 officers dead in Enugu.
Notorious murder suspect Sunday Shodipe rearrested by the Nigerian Police Force, Oyo State Command.
Nigeria's COVID-19 death toll crosses the 1,000 mark, about 6 months after the first case was reported in February this year.
Let's start from Mali, where delegates from the West African grouping ECOWAS have met its ousted president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, and members of the country's military junta on Saturday in a bid to push for a speedy return to civilian rule following a coup in the troubled nation. 3 members of the delegation, headed by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, were granted access to Keïta. Former President Jonathan told newsmen after seeing ousted President Keïta late Saturday that the negotiations are going well. The meeting between the ousted Malian leader and the 3 ECOWAS delegation members was held at an undisclosed location. No details of the meeting were released. Earlier Saturday, ECOWAS envoys met with Mali's military junta, including new strongman Colonel Assimi Goïta. The meeting lasted half an hour.
And back in Nigeria, a patrol team of the Department of State Services was attacked in Enugu State by members of the outlawed indigenous peoples of Biafra, IPOB. A statement by the Public Relations Officer of the service, Dr. Peter Afunaya, indicates that the service lost 2 of its personnel in what was clearly an unprovoked violent attack launched by IPOB on the team. The service condoles with the families of the departed officers and also prays for the repose of their souls. However, all measures have been put in place to ensure that their killers are promptly apprehended and brought to justice. Consequently, a full-scale investigation will be carried out with regard to the incident. The service further reaffirms its commitment to working assiduously with other security agencies to maintain public safety and order. It therefore urges law-abiding citizens and residents to go about doing their normal businesses without fear.
And still on security, operatives of the Nigeria Police Force, Oyo State Police Command, have rearrested the notorious murder suspect Sunday Shodipe, who escaped from lawful custody on 11th August 2020. He was rearrested Sunday 23rd August 2020 by police operatives at Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu, in a statement by Force Public Relations Officer Frank Mba, commended the Commissioner of Police, Oyo State Command CP Joe Nwachukwu, and his team for a job well done. The IGP equally expressed his sincere appreciation to the citizens for their support and understanding during the manhunt for the rearrested Shodipe. Meanwhile, the IGP has warned against any form of complacency on the part of the operatives of the Oyo State Police Command, stressing that all hands must be on deck to bring the case to a positive and successful closure.
Meanwhile, the Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, directs troops to be dynamic in their strategies as the hunt for the remnant of Boko Haram terrorists reaches a final stage.
Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai gave the directive while addressing troops at the Nigerian Army Super Camp 3 in Buratai, Borno State. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
The Super Camp concept entails a fortified troops location with variety of platforms and highly mobile special forces. The Army Chief, who has been on operational tour of units and formations in the northwest and northeast, is here to appraise troops deployment and operations.
Operation of this nature must continuously be evolved.
While commending the troops for successes recorded, Lieutenant General Buratai charged them to sniff out criminals from their hideouts.
And henceforth, all our operations will be driven from what we have gotten from the intelligence corps. Our operations have been decided or guided by the same intelligence corps, but we are going to do more this time around. We should brace up for the final phase, and I expect you to get going. Is that clear?
And in addition to the deployment of special troops to restore normalcy in southern Kaduna, the Nigerian Air Force has begun a 6-day medical outreach in the area.
Abdullah Mohammed reports that the medical outreach was declared open by the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar.
Most of them are displaced following the crisis and now a sigh of relief. The Nigerian Air Force came calling with basic needs to keep the families above the threats of hunger and the comforts they require at their camps. It didn't end there. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has sent the Air Force's #1 medical personnel to lead a medical outreach. This is expected to reach about 3,000 displaced of the area who are being diagnosed and treated for various ailments.
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, Distinguished Flying Star, felt that in his usual nature of being somebody who is very concerned about the plight of people, sent us here to bring out this medical outreach.
For the next 3 days, the displaced across Zonkoa and environs will be treated and served relief materials, and same goes for those that are in Mariri, Kajuru local government area.
And we are also using this opportunity to call on all people of Zangon Kataf local government to ensure that they live in peace with each other and with their neighbors.
Religious and traditional rulers in the area have expressed gratitude for the succor which the Nigerian Air Force has brought to its people. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
And in a related development, former Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, has called for stronger collaboration between the government and the people towards restoring lasting peace among the diverse socio-cultural and religious groups in Nigeria.
The former Emir made the call during an interaction with the Kaduna State Governor, Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, at the government house. Kaduna, Muhammad Umar Anjingi reports.
It is the first visit of the former Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II to this part of the country since he was dethroned about 6 months ago. He is expected to spend a week in Kaduna for investment talks with organizers of the forthcoming Kaduna State Investment Summit and other officials of the Kaduna State University, being the chancellor of the institution. Muhammadu Sanusi says he is closely monitoring developments in Kaduna State, including security challenges, calling on all stakeholders to join hands with the government at all levels to combat the challenges without sentiments.
The case of the crisis in Kaduna, first of all, is something that predates this government. It's been on for a long time. And the governor is doing something about it for the first time in a long time. And the North as a whole suffers.
For Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, his social contract with the people of the state remains sacrosanct.
Kaduna State is very lucky to have His Royal Highness as the Vice Chairman of its Investment Promotion Agency because of his wide global network, his integrity and reputation, which has been recognized both within Nigeria and abroad.
While in Kaduna, the former Emir of Kano will engage the state executive members, prospective investors, and some other critical stakeholders on how to further move the state forward. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajingi, NTA News.
The United Nations International Day for Remembrance of Slave Trade and its abolition is observed to reawaken the consciousness of people on the dangers and effects of slavery in Africa and, by extension, the world.
Annie Daniels in this report takes a look at the inhuman trade and the present form of slavery.
It was an era where about 17 million people were transported against their will from Africa to North, Central, and South America. This illicit trade lasted from the 16th to 19th century. Millions of Africans died while being transported to other countries. My respondents say it was the worst violations of human rights. More disheartening, they say, is that this illicit and inhuman trade still exists, even among Africans.
It's very unfortunate that women see themselves as the weaker vessels. So they look at it like, I can use my body to get whatever I want, and that's why it's easy for them to become easy prey.
Slavery. Human trafficking ensures that you lose all your rights as a person. All the dignity is lost. The human trafficker does not have a sense of proportion to say, look, I have suffered this person enough. No, look, they use you. After a point, you are sold off to another person.
They suggest the way out.
We are telling people, be careful, be aware. Again, you see people saying, we'll give you a job of 300,000, 250,000 in United Arab Emirates. Watch it, watch it. You that you are talking of going to United Arab Emirates to work, what are your certifications? What certificates do you have? What are your competencies? We have had issues of people who cannot even write their names, and they're saying they're going to work. So what work are you going to do?
The theme for this year is Confronting Slavery's Legacy of Racism Together. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
You're watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. Still ahead.
Challenges of e-learning in public universities. Details shortly.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Thanks for staying tuned. And now to some business news. Investors' confidence in the capital markets in focus as markets continues to take negative hits. More on this with Chimobi Walter Naji.
The need to ensure a peaceful and secure region under the ECOWAS sub-region is still a source of worry for key players who believe the economic bloc can only survive under a peaceful atmosphere. They believe to increase regional integration and build a formidable economic force, the regional government must work together to ensure treaties are respected and non-trade barriers lifted.
We shouldn't give room for member states to see themselves as a rivalry. Rather, we should work together and complement each other's effort will be able to move the sub-region forward. That is the way I want to see ECOWAS region that can even surpass European Union.
But as you know, one of the key agenda of ECOWAS is economic integration. And the most important aspect of this is interregional trade. And that is what ECOWAS is working on. The Vision 2050 is meant to address that, so that we can increase the percentage of inter-community trade amongst us.
Meanwhile, the Securities and Exchange Commission says it will strictly enforce rules and guide the operations of the capital market to restore investors' confidence. Yuguda said this at the first Capital Market Committee meeting, which was attended virtually by over 240 stakeholders in the capital market. The meeting marked the first interaction between the newly institution of the Commission and the Capital Market Committee. With Business News, I'm Chimubi Walter Naji.
And now the update of COVID-19 from NCDC. Nigeria's COVID-19 death toll has crossed the 1,000 mark about 6 months after the first case was reported in the country in February this year. Latest statistics from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control show that 1,002 lives have sadly been lost to the pandemic in the country. Nigeria's COVID-19 caseload is now 52,227, out of which 38,945 recovered cases have been discharged, leaving 12,280 active cases. A breakdown of 322 new confirmed cases across 18 states show that Lagos has the daily highest of 130 cases, followed by Bauchi with 36 and FCT with 25 cases. Edo recorded 17 new cases, Bayelsa, Ogun and Oyo 14 cases each, Anambra 13, Kaduna 12, Ondo 11, Abia 10 and Osun 6. Plateau and Kwara states have 5 cases each. Kano has 4, Ebonyi 3, Sokoto 2, while Borno recorded just a case this time around. On the state's case chart, Lagos still leads with 17,894 cases, followed by FCT with 4,994 cases, while Oyo is third with 3,050 cases.
First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has thanked Nigerians for their prayers and well wishes while she was away for medical treatment in the United Arab Emirates. In a statement, the First Lady assured Nigerians that she has fully recovered and back home. She called on the healthcare providers to take advantage of the federal government's initiative for the operation of 100 billion naira credit support for the healthcare sector. This, the First Lady said, will help in building and expanding the capacity of the Nigerian health sector and ultimately reduce medical trips and tourism outside the country.
The coronavirus pandemic has wreaked havoc on most aspects of human life. The impact on education is even more visible as classrooms in the nations and universities remain closed since the outbreak of the pandemic.
And while many private universities manage to find a way around the problem through e-learning platforms, the public university system is virtually crumbling under the weight of COVID-19.
Kelvin Onue reports on why e-learning remains a tall dream for public universities in Nigeria.
COVID or no COVID, the clock, they say, does not stop ticking. Why then should learning stop because of the pandemic? This is the propelling factor that made many private universities seamlessly moved their classrooms online as COVID-19 forced institutions to close shops. They are not only carrying on with teaching and learning, many have conducted examinations using relevant e-learning platforms.
We concluded our semester and then commenced the next one, which we are at now. And so it didn't disrupt our services at all.
If it is working for private institutions,
Why are the public universities struggling to adopt the same method, despite the Minister of Education's directive to vice chancellors to continue teaching online?
The infrastructure that lead to this digital technology we're talking are not even present in the federal universities. We talk of computer, we talk of even as small as Wi-Fi in the system are not there.
In Nigeria, we have a special case in the sense that, you know, we have our academic staff that are continuing to, you know, negotiate with government. So many of them are not working currently because they're on strike. So that, I know, is one of the reasons many universities have not been able to do it.
Because COVID caught everyone unawares, it may take some time for authorities to provide the needed ICT infrastructure for e-learning, as well as training of lecturers who will deploy the technologies. But experts are confident that in the short run, they can leverage on the available distance learning facilities and still keep the integrity of their examinations intact.
There is a camera from your laptop directly on your face. If you move, in fact, there will be an alert to shut down that exam immediately.
No one is sure when COVID-19 will end. So, until a suitable solution is found to sustain learning in the public university system, the fate of their students will continue to hang in the balance. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on the need to relocate tank farms in residential areas wants the tank farm owners to comply strictly with the stipulated safety rules and regulation established by the relevant government agencies in their operations to ensure safety of lives and property.
The chairman of the committee, Sergius Ogun, stated this during an oversight function of the committee in Delta State. Agatha Egware Ojo has more on this.
The Ad Hoc Committee on Investigation of Tank Farms in Residential Areas was constituted following a motion by a member representing Amuwo Odofin Federal Constituency in Lagos State, Ogene Emmanuel, on need to relocate tank farms in the residential areas of Ijegun, Kirikiri, and others. It is also saddled with the responsibility to investigate activities of the tank farms to ensure safety of lives and property in host communities. This is why the committee embarked on the visit to Ugara, Koko, and Wari in Delta State to get on-the-spot assessment of the areas in view. Chairman of the team, Sergius Ogun, expressed concern on clustering of the tank farms, especially at residential areas, which he noted poses danger to lives and properties.
They have drawn up a list of what they need to do, and the Federal Fire Service are with us. They have been here before, and they are going to come back next week to make eye contact with some of those things.
The committee inspected fire service facilities, total capacity of the tanks, medical facilities, jetties, as well as corporate social responsibility of tank farmers to the host communities. Meanwhile, the committee also met with some of the tank farmers in Ugara and Koko, including stakeholders in the petroleum sector, where the challenge of security in the area topped agenda. From Ugara in Delta State, Agatha Egware Ojo, NTA News.
Rivers State government has decried the non-relocation of most international oil companies to the Niger Delta as a result of insecurity.
Governor Nyesom Wike stated this when he played host to the Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogedi Nkwere reports.
The Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, was accompanied on the visit by the Board of Directors of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and its Group Managing Director. They are in the state to ascertain the state of affairs at the Port Harcourt refinery, where rehabilitation work is about to commence. The minister commended the Rivers State government's efforts in the area of security, noting that the state occupies a prominent place in the oil and gas sector.
The petroleum product sector, subsector, has been deregulated. That means that that subsector has been enabled to function as it should. And in Port Harcourt, we have 2 refineries and a 3rd refinery to be co-located within the same area, which means this is going to be a major center of refining in Nigeria.
Governor Wike bemoaned the excuses of insecurity always put up by the international oil companies for non-relocation of their head offices to the Niger Delta region, saying the region is safe for investment.
Who are those causing the insecurity in Niger Delta? They begin to project as if there's so much insecurity in Niger Delta. It's not correct. Niger Delta is safe.
He tasked the NNPC to see to the rehabilitation of the road leading to East Facility in Port Harcourt. Ogedinyekwere, NTA News.
The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, as part of its humanitarian services to member states, has donated about 4,000 tons of grains to the Nigerian government to cushion the effects of the coronavirus pandemic.
Yahanasu Hassan Barrow reports that the food items received by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in Kano are to be distributed to the most vulnerable across the country.
The establishment of the ECOWAS Regional Food Security Reserve in 2013 is aimed at complementing the efforts of member states to provide diversified rapid food and nutritional assistance. This is often actualized through the harmonized framework for identifying risk areas and vulnerability among member states. Nigeria qualified for the benevolence following recent vulnerability survey, which indicates that more than 7 million people are currently in difficult food situation, including internally displaced persons and children affected by malnutrition. It is therefore to cushion the hardship faced by this most vulnerable group that ECOWAS Commission deemed it fit to donate grains through its emergency fund with the support of European Union.
The ECOWAS is to continue this operation because it's very, very important for our responsibility.
3 ministers were on hand to receive the items on behalf of Nigerian government.
This initiative clearly demonstrates the responsibility and support that the ECOWAS Commission has shown and continues to show for its citizens.
Nigeria has taken notice of the kind gesture by ECOWAS. We rest assured that the 3,999 metric tons of cereals will be distributed to vulnerable.
And so we're going to sit down, come up with a plan and a structure that's going to do this distribution.
Other member states that have so far benefited from the Regional Security Reserve are Burkina Faso, the Republics of Niger, and Mali. In Kano, Yahanasu Hassan Barrow, NTA News.
You're still watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24, reaching you on the network service of the NTA. Still ahead.
Recycling hub unveiled in the FCT.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can't beat the reach.
This is the network service of the NTA.